friends. I'm currently, I wouldn't say driving, more like sitting in traffic. So I thought I would give you an update. So today was chemo treatment number 4. And so that is not necessarily a big deal in itself. I mean, I think it's a big deal, but not in the grand scheme of things. So I had to see my doctor yesterday to get the results of my CT scan. And so that was basically neutral. It was more inconclusive than anything. And the reason I say that is because there were both positive and negative things going on at the same time. And so he was like, we're still at a wait and see point. So I'll try not to get into all the scientific like blah blah unless you care about those sorts of things. But basically, my tumor or mass has neither increased or decreased in size, so there is stability there, so that's a bonus. The negative is that I have 2 lymph nodes that he is concerned about because they've gotten bigger. However, that could be because of the bear of a lung infection I had. So then that's sort of neutral. It could be bad, it could be good, I don't know. So then the next thing is the CA-125 levels. So every cancer has like this protein or whatever it is that's designated like CA-37 or something. You know, if you have colon cancer, there's CA like for cancer and then whatever the number is. So for ovarian cancer, it's 125. And so when that is present, whenever that goes up, that means ovarian cancer is present. So if you don't have ovarian cancer, yours is 0. Mine was up to like 1,800 something, so that's not good. But the problem with that is that the doctor said that my scan or my CA-125 levels had continued to skyrocket even whenever I was taking chemo. He said that he has seen this happen before. Now, luckily, it wasn't a huge plummet, but they were on the downward slope from the last treatment. So I just had another CA-125 level test, and so I won't get that back probably until Monday. So it is our hope that it is continuing on the downward trend. But basically, the best way to look at it is he said that we may have gotten the cancer right when it had just basically took off from the starting line and was getting ready to sort of explode into, you know, full-blown, you know, super cancer, like really bad, several stages later. So the best way to explain it is sort of like if you're driving along going 80 miles an hour and you slam on your brakes, you don't just stop. You know, you still keep going for a little while before you can put the car in reverse. So that's sort of the way that you can look at the whole CA-125 thing. So it was going to continue on. So that's what we're hoping. Now, because of that, he said that he was reading in his scholarly journals. Students who are watching, this is what happens when you read stuff. Like, you find out great things. And so my genius doctor was reading in his medical journals that there was a new FDA approved drug that just was approved, I think December 7th, for use in these kinds of cancers. And so it's Avastin, and what it does is it basically, from my simple-minded understanding, takes, it basically inhibits blood vessels from feeding tumors and cancer cells, and so that stops them basically from getting food to grow. The only downside, well, there are a couple downsides. It can cause high blood pressure, but the other one is it inhibits healing. So if I get cut, so let's say I get prison shanked, we're hoping not, but let's say that happens, and so I have to get a big cut like in my stomach or something. It's not going to heal, because when you heal, like the blood vessels start feeding blood into that area and it gets better. Well, I would just have a cut that wouldn't heal. So I'm going to have to be very careful about, I guess, prison. And, you know, just like, I guess, simple things where I could get cut, because then I would just continue to have a cut. He he says that this works for like platinum resistant cancers. And so he is working under the assumption that maybe this particular kind of cancer is platinum resistant. And one of my chemicals, I'm taking two. One of the chemicals is a platinum drug. So he's saying if that is the case, then this should help. If it does, he says that I might continue to be on this particular drug, Avastin, for either a long period or for the rest of my life as a maintenance chemo. Now, my vanity, I said, hey, I will, if this saves my life and lets me grow old and become a Boo Radley character in my neighborhood, perfect. And if that means I have to be bald, I will be bald. I will invest in wigs, whatever. Because let's just face it, this is not the best look for me. And I'm okay with that. Because I like living, and I think it's pretty awesome. So I said, but just, and he assured me, he said, if I stop taking the other two drugs, my hair will grow back, because one of the side effects of Avastin is not hair loss. So I would get my hair back if I had to take it. That's the worst thing, is just looking sick, because people kind of feel sorry for you. So I could take chemo for the rest of my life and have hair, and nobody would ever know, basically. So yeah, and if that doesn't work, he found out that I have a BRAF gene mutation. It's something like BRAF V600. I don't know. It sounded like Marvin the Martian kind of thing. I can look it up. I've got it written down. But this is a gene mutation that is not hereditary. It happens within the cell itself. And again, this is my simplistic understanding. And the biologists at school were probably having a heart attack as I explain this. They're probably like, oh, you're too stupid to breathe. Stop talking on YouTube. But basically, this is a gene mutation that is often present in melanoma cases or skin cancer. So he said, my doctor said that he was not implying that I had skin cancer, and that's what makes my case unique. And he said, or for lack of a better word, it makes you sort of, a freak. And I said, you would not be the first person who said that to me, but not for those particular reasons. So he said, if all of this other stuff doesn't work, there is actually another sort of chemo, but it is taken orally by pill. I'm about to sorry. Oh, see if I can edit that out. Oh. But he said that people with colon cancer, melanomas, and melanoma it doesn't have a really high rate of success with chemicals and like chemo and stuff, but they did a study and found that when people with melanoma and like colon cancers took this, that it basically just melted the cancer away. So he said that because mine was a BRAF gene mutation, that it could be possible down the line for him to pull that out and convince the insurance companies that even though I don't have melanoma, that this would be beneficial. So, and my wish to you is that you never have cancer. But if you do, and you are in my area, this man is just a compassionate genius. Like, he keeps bringing up all of these, I don't know if he sleeps, that's the thing, because he keeps bringing up all of these, medical journals and things he's discovered and all that kind of stuff. And so it is my understanding that even though two people before me in his practice were involved in the clinical trials, I am the first person in his office after the FDA approved it who is now taking the Avastin. So I was a little bit of a celebrity today, because people were like, you're the girl who's on Avastin. I'm like, yes I am. With no hair, kind of do the Cher flick with no hair. It doesn't work as well. So that's where we are. It's neither good news nor bad news. It's just, hey, we have to go a different direction. And so I had to add about an hour and a half to 2 hours longer on my treatment today, but that was okay. I had quite the nap and apparently was snoring like a trucker. And even though I told my best friend to wake me if I started snoring, she didn't. because they said, no, you need your rest and you must be really tired. And I'm like, no, I'm snoring like a trucker. That's embarrassing. So anyway, that is what is going on in Gwen's ovarian cancer world. If you have any questions, though, for me, either you can tweet me at Dharmah, DHARMAH 35, or you can leave your questions in the comments. And if you have any questions about chemo, cancer, whatever, hair loss, I found out today that several of my students came to see me, and they had a lot of preconceived notions about what you had to go through when you had cancer. And so I and the nurse and the doctor, actually I'll talk to them, and they got to learn today. So that was pretty awesome. And so they thought they were stupid questions, but they're not, especially if you don't have any sort of, if you've never had any connection to cancer or chemo, it sounds horrible, and it can be horrible, but it's not nearly as scary and horrible as it used to be. So thanks for following, and let me know if you have questions.